emerge from this briefing as dissatisfied and angry, frankly, as I have from any past briefing in my 15 years in the Senate. I am left with more questions than answers, especially about the cost of the war. My questions have been unanswered, and I will demand answers because the American people deserve to know. And I guess I am most concerned about the threat to American lives of potentially deploying our sons and daughters on the ground in Iran. We seem to be on a path toward deploying American troops on the ground in Iran to accomplish any of the potential objectives here. And there is also, as disturbingly as anything else, the specter of active Russian aid to Iran, putting in danger American lives. Literally, Russia seems to be aiding our enemy actively and intensively with intelligence and perhaps with other means. And China also may be assisting Iran. So the American people deserve to know much more than this administration has told them about the cost of the war, the danger to our sons and daughters in uniform, and the potential for further escalation and widening of this war, a war of choice made by this president, not chosen by the American people, with potentially huge consequences to American lives.
بگو به ما.
جمال، اینجا حملات موشکی ایران ادامه داشته. چندین بار امروز این آژیرهای خطر به صدا در آمد و آخرین بار که آژیر خطر به صدا در آمد حمله.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Party. Why I like the new party? Number one, it's a group of people that's on a panel. We all have differences, but we all basically still come together at the end of the day. The new party for me is about unity. The new party for me is about educating people to the truth, letting people know what's been going on in our country. With that being said, shout out to the new party, man. We're going to keep it going with y'all.
Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mar.
It's Mia.
I'm Kim.
And I'm the Ratchet Christian.
And we have a very, very special guest. The Ratchet Christian is here. So round of applause. She is comedian extraordinaire. She does conservative content. So definitely check her out. We will allow her, once we build up the room, to tell us about where to find her. But for now, guys, we have 4 ladies on the panel that covers political content. This is the only place you can find this on all of YouTube. Enzo must be running late from his stream, but he will be coming. So guys, hit that like button. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't know that first clip was in Hebrew, but pretty much that clip is explaining that things are being censored and it's pretty bad right now over there in Israel. So we definitely want to be talking about that and covering this. We also have information that came out this week showing images that we are now allegedly responsible for what happened to the kids in Iran. This is a clip of showing what Israel's looking like. These are scenes all over Israel where the bombs have hit them directly. Kimberly, while this is playing, can you explain about the censorship that you've been hearing?
So I've been reading reports that they're basically censoring Iran's attacks on Israel. So I'm not able to verify, except through commentators like Scott Ritter, about the alleged murder of Benjamin Netanyahu's brother and also the alleged serious injury of Ben Gavir. So, I mean, I've tried going on like DuckDuckGo and I've tried on my computer, and it's all just basically just rumors at this point. They're censoring Iran's attacks against Israel, and we're only really seeing Israel's attacks on Iran. And the morning news that I watched this morning, Breaking Points, Sagar did a really good explanation of history and how they did that with the Vietnam War. With the Vietnam War, they would always report all the deaths and all the bombings, like if we were winning the war. But then, we later found out through whistleblowers and the Pentagon Papers that that wasn't true until we actually lost the war. And a lot of people smarter than I am are predicting that that's what's happening here now. We're going to have a similar situation like with the loss in the war in Vietnam.
Yeah, and guys, I'm showing images on the screen because Mia, you brought up that you feel like I think when me and you talked privately that they're censoring what's happening in Israel. What are you hearing as well?
I'm hearing that. So I actually, even on TikTok, I follow a lot of foreign, whether it's Great Britain, whether it's South Korea. I follow a lot of foreign news, and I jump into some of the lives where they're live streaming their news or whatnot. We are being extremely heavily censored here, like extremely heavily censored. If you don't got a VPN to get news from outside the United States sphere, you're not going to know what's going on. And I think they're doing this for a reason, because the publicity and the public eye has turned so negative toward this. They're not going to win that. There's no way they're going to frame this war as something the American people want. Over 80%. I think 73% of Americans don't agree with this conflict. Even if we don't call it a war, we'll call it a conflict at minimum.
Yeah, and I'm showing the aerial shots, guys, because it's important that we show the truth. The reality is this is war, right? This is war. There was also a rumor that came out this week that Khamenei's son, who has taken over, has been unalived. However, I'm hearing that that's not been confirmed. So, I mean, this is what happens in war. Lots of rumors. We're seeing it even in the 21st century. Imagine what it was like 100, 200 years ago. But I'm seeing images come out of Iran, and Iran looks okay. Let's play it.
Quick break for a coffee along the way. We've been driving for several hours. There's a couple of things that we've noticed. Number one is that, first of all the shops are open. All the shops are really well stocked, even with fresh things, like, for instance, fruits and vegetables. Coffee, obviously, also available as well. And then also the gas stations. There's no long lines as gas stations. Fuel seems readily available, and you just don't see any sort of degree of panic anywhere.
Asmal, my beautiful guest, what is your thoughts and what are you hearing about the war in Israel, war between Iran, Israel, and the United States? What are we not seeing?
Man, I don't even know where to begin, honestly. It's really hard to to form a full, concise, and well-informed opinion on all of this, because there is misinformation and disinformation and overwhelming amount of information coming from all sides, that I actually get to a point, with all this, where I don't know what to believe. I don't know what's true. I don't know whose motives are good or whose intentions are right. And so I'm just trying to, stay out of a state of confusion and apathy. All I do know is that I personally don't agree with the war. I voted for Trump because he said no more forever wars. He spoke so passionately about what happened in Afghanistan and Iraq. And, I risked it all because I wanted to follow this president who I felt like really got it and really understood that being at war for the past 20 years did not benefit the American people. And so I thought I was voting for someone who was going to shift his attention from forever wars to focus on what was happening here, and to really just see a continuation of what has been is very disappointing. And I would even say slightly embarrassing. Like I'm embarrassed, with all of this that's been going on with him striking Iran, and even things. I feel like this started with what happened in Venezuela. I think because people cheered that on, and it was like a temperature check for our support of conflict overseas. I think that was the litmus test of what the American people were going to accept. And because we're so split about that being okay and people even celebrating it, then they kind of got the okay to go into Iran. And at the beginning of all of this, the news from all sides was very mindful to show us that, oh, the people in Iran, like, they're happy about this. They've been harming their protesters, like, they want this. And the people in Venezuela, like, this, and that's fine. The people of those countries, they can want their leaderships overthrown, but we don't have to do it, and we don't have to pay for it, and we shouldn't be over there. You know, I am an America first conservative, and so I'm really disappointed that we're involving ourselves in yet another conflict, no matter what the reason is. And, you know, from the things that I've gathered from other political commentators, I love Jeffrey Sachs. I listen to Tucker Carlson a lot. He's had him on a few times, and he's talked about this Greater Israel Project. And truthfully, I believe this is a part of that. There was a list of 7 nations that, you know, this nation wanted to go to war with, and we have gone to war with most of those nations, this being one of them. And so for me, I just see an overarching 30-year plan or foreign policy that benefits a specific country that, no matter who's president, we've been on board with. And I heard another political commentator who was also on Tucker Carlson. No, it was Thomas Massey. Congressman Thomas Massey, he was talking about how when Biden was in office, you know, or in Afghanistan, starting way back then, we were spending about an average of $50 billion every year at war in a foreign country. And so we pulled out of Afghanistan and Iraq, but that $50 billion still needed to be spent. So what did we do? We went to Ukraine. Okay, and now things are slowing down in Ukraine. And now that that's slowing down, the $50 billion still needs to be spent because we have an industrial complex surrounded around war. Now we're going into another war. And so it just seems like that money has to be spent. We have to use the weapons that we make, even if it's just for our entertainment or whatever it is that it may be. Maybe not for our entertainment, maybe for, you know, empire building, whatever it may be. I'm just really, really disappointed, and I'm embarrassed because this is not what I voted for. This is not what I wanted. I don't see how this puts the American people first in their day-to-day lives. And you can't convince me otherwise. You can't convince me, oh, we have to do a preemptive strike. We have to go and get them before they come and get us, because it's like, I'm old enough, I'm in my 30s, I've lived long enough now to have watched what happened in Afghanistan and the weapons of mass destruction and all these things. And we're on the other side of that, and we're reflecting and knowing that we could have done better. So you're not going to convince me that we're going to go in the Middle East and do the same thing again and have different results. It's silly, it's stupid, the propaganda is not working, and I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed.
Gray, I'm going to play this clip for you and get you in here. Pretty much, this is basically explaining and showing what it's looking like as far as the protests go and what reporters are seeing inside Iran.
Hi everyone, I'm here live from the streets of Tehran. It's 3 a.m. right now, and people have just heard of the news of the new supreme leader being elected. And I'm just going to show.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Streets of Tehran. Make sure to send this to Trump and his dirty, filthy media. So this is just a normal random street from Tehran. I'm not making this up. It's 8th March, 3 a.m. in the morning. People are out here, and you can look at the crowd here, absolute massive crowd. Trump said that Iranians want to come out against the regime, and you see the protesters of the regime and all of these regime propagandists who have come out at 3 a.m. in the morning celebrating the election of Ayatollah Mustafa Khamenei as their supreme leader. We see it's not like all of these are religious people. Western media would tell you these are religious people. Just look at these modern women who are standing here. They're not religious people. They're just random normal people. And make sure to send this to all of this dirty Western media that is showing you absolute bullshit day and night. And people like us get labeled as regime propagandists. And I don't know what to say.
Gray, what's your thoughts on the images we're seeing? Do you think this drives the point that they want us to free them, or do you think it disproves it?
I think it disproves it. I think some of the people in the U.S. probably are more happy about what happened with the leader being killed And if you know Islam, Muslims aren't allowed to harm another Muslim. At least that's what they say. So for someone from the West to basically do it, I don't think that that's something they would necessarily be happy about. It's going to be mixed opinions. Like something happened to Trump, obviously some people would be happy, but some people would be really upset. So it's going to be on both sides. But I have heard that Western media is bringing up stuff that isn't being said in international news, and they're saying that there are more soldiers that have been hurt, American soldiers, and they just released that 140 to 150 U.S. troops were actually injured in Iran.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers are changing. First, we heard 1 week, then we heard 4 weeks. Now we're hearing summer. So people are scared, guys. Just because we're expressing our fear doesn't mean we still don't support our country. We still don't support the president. If you said you're not scared, to me, I don't know. Either you're not informed, you're not clearly thinking. I don't know what to tell you, because now they're also saying that sleeper cells have been activated. But leading up to this, we found out something regarding a rumor that MAGA and conservatives disavowed and said wasn't true. Now we're hearing reports we've admitted to this.
This war with Iran has been underway. The deadliest incident of civilian casualties was a strike that happened on an elementary school in southern Iran that killed scores of children. Tonight, a CNN analysis of that attack reveals evidence suggesting that the United States military was likely responsible for it. What you're about to see is disturbing. I want to warn you. The United States says it's still under investigation. But this was the scene at the school just after the strikes 1 week ago, nearly. CNN has not independently confirmed the death toll, but Iranian health officials and state media believe that at least 168 children and 14 teachers were killed. Our analysis, which is based on satellite imagery, geolocated videos, and the assessment of munitions experts, suggests that the school was hit around the same time that an attack that American forces had launched on a neighboring Iranian naval base. This new satellite image shows several Revolutionary Guard buildings near the all-girls school. You can see how close they are. In red, you can see the craters at the center of the structures, including the school, and what experts say look like precision strikes. A wall, marked by that dotted line there, is all that separates the school and this base. When asked about the strike this week multiple times during multiple different press briefings, this is what Trump administration officials have told reporters.
Did the United States airstrike a girls' elementary school and kill 175 people?
Not that we know of, Sean, and the Department of War is investigating this matter, and I would just tell you very strongly, the United States of America does not target civilians, unlike the rogue Iranian regime that targets civilians, that kills children, that has killed thousands of their own people in the past several weeks, and uses propaganda quite effectively, and unfortunately many people in this room have fallen for that propaganda.
Can you give us an update on what the administration knows, what you know now about the reported strike on a girls' school in southern Iran on Saturday?
All I can say is that we're investigating that. We, of course, never target civilian targets, but we're taking a look and investigating that.
Now, the internet blackout in Iran has made it very difficult for our teams to examine weapons fragments that are left at the scene for further evidence of responsibility. Reuters reports, though, that U.S. military investigators also believe it is likely U.S. forces were behind that strike.
Sorry, guys, 1 second. Too much going on here. Okay, so we're hearing about this strike. Kimberly, initially, Xavier, who is a big MAGA content creator, made a video. We actually played it. SBT, Simple Black Theory, who's a part of our Monday team, The Man Cave. Check it out. Check him out. Check it out. He debated Andre on Sunday. If you guys haven't seen that stream, please go back and watch it. Highly entertaining. It was on Black Fatigue, but nevertheless, he said that this wasn't true, that it's a rumor. And then I'm also hearing that there was a Iranian base next door. What is your response to MAGA and people? I don't even want to loop in Americans. What is your response to the American government saying the reason why this happened was because there was a base next door? Because again, we got to stop with the left-right rhetoric, guys. We would not be in this situation if we cut a lot of that shit out, because this is why they're doing the things we're doing, because they know that people on the right, we are going to defend Trump and everything he's doing, and that's what they're banking on. So without removing that rhetoric, I got to remind myself, what is your response to the government?
Yeah, they're trying to justify the human shields, right? To justify murder, they're using the same excuse as human shields. I would expect nothing less from the United States government and the military. That reporting remains to be verified, but there's also reporting that the way that they chose that specific site with the next door military base with next to the girls' school was allegedly picked by AI. So they're going by like AI algorithms telling them like, hey, where do we strike? Because they're just such a fucking mess. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They have no strategy. They're just trying to, well, already have started a freaking war. But the expense of that, like we see, is, human lives. So that's what we get out of it. They're going to kill children. They're going to kill people. And also, by the way, they're over there claiming they're going to bring democracy to Iran. You're going to turn those people who you're trying to save against you. You're killing them. You're killing their children. You're killing their families. And these sleeper cells and is what, I mean, that could be true or not. It's what the CIA even themselves call blowback, right? So when we go and kill Black and brown people all over the world, then they're going to respond. They're not going to like us. We're the ones going out wrecking havoc all over the world. Now at the behest of Israel, to bounce back off of what the Ratchet Christian was talking about, the clean break strategy. Iran is the last country off of the 7 countries that they've been attacking over the last 30 years. At what expense? At our expense, at the expense of the middle class. It's expensive. It's what makes us less safe. It's completely illogical, and it's also immoral and humane. So anybody excusing the death of children, really, you need some shrooms or Jesus or something, honestly. I pray for you.
Yeah. So we're going to play a couple more clips, guys, and then we're going to go into the draft topic. I see that that's a very hot topic that everyone is concerned about. This is what they're saying regarding the new leader. Let's watch.
Supreme leader in Iran and a new call for resistance. And while toxic oil rains from the sky, Tehran's Gulf neighbors are hitting back. Under cover of airstrikes, Iran's clerics have chosen their new leader, sending a clear message to Israel and the US about where this war is going.
Ayatollah Sayyid Mujtaba Hosseini Khamenei Hafazahullah Ta'ala ra.
We continue to resist as long as it takes. Our dignity is not for sale.
In a pivotal moment in Iran's history, Mujtaba Khamenei was chosen to replace his father as Iran's supreme leader. He's viewed as a hardliner with close ties to the powerful Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, as well as political and business establishments. The 56-year-old cleric didn't just lose his father on the first day of the war. That airstrike on the supreme leader's residence also killed his mother, his wife, and his daughter. He now steps in to fill Iran's political vacuum and will look to unite the government, the clergy, and the Revolutionary Guard. All 3 have already pledged their support. The Supreme Leader is the most powerful political and religious figure in the country, with direct control over Iran's army and its IRGC. The decision to pick him to succeed his father signals hardliners are now in control. It signals continuity and defiance, and there's already been threats from some US lawmakers. Senator Lindsey Graham tweeted that it was a matter of time before he meets the same fate as that of his father. Meanwhile, on the ground, Iran is facing a growing environmental disaster. This black smoke you're seeing, it's oil mixed with rainwater after Israeli strikes hit energy infrastructure for the first time. Fuel depots, refineries, and petrochemical facilities were hit, igniting massive fires across Tehran and other industrial regions. Millions of people in the capital are now struggling with toxic air and rain, posing serious health risks. Iran's attacks on its Gulf neighbors have continued, as have the casualties. Yesterday, 2 people were killed in Saudi Arabia when an intercepted missile landed on a residential building. Another 2 people were killed in Kuwait. On Sunday, the Arab League met to condemn Iran's attacks, saying they've kept out of the war so far, though there are signs that could change. The United Arab Emirates released this footage showing its air force downing 2 Iranian drones that entered its territory. But perhaps the most concerning development to Gulf nations was a strike that damaged a water desalination plant in Bahrain. It came a day after an attack on Iran's Qashm desalination plant. The Gulf is one of the most arid regions on Earth, and smaller nations like Bahrain, Qatar, and Kuwait could run out of drinking water within weeks if their plants are destroyed.
أنه لا يؤسفنا ما تعرضت له بلادنا العزيزة والدول العربية والشقيقة والدول الصديقة من اعتداءات غير مسبوقة لا يمكن تبريرها تحت أي ذريعة من قبل إيران.
In Israel, Iranian strikes appear to be more frequent and are causing destruction in central areas, including in Tel Aviv. Israeli officials have been saying Iran's missile capability has been degraded, but the IRGC says it can continue for another 6 months at the same pace. There also appears to have been an underestimation of Hezbollah's capabilities in Lebanon, with waves of rocket and drone launches, including an attack on a
So, Ratchet, what's your thoughts? Do the people of Iran want us to save them? Yes or no?
No. I mean, this is classic regime change war. I've seen it in my lifetime. They're pretty much following the same playbook. You know, how is America coming to bring freedom to your country when it's not even listening to its own citizens? What do we have to offer a country when our own government is not listening to us or providing the things that we need and prioritizing our needs with our own money? It's just simply not true, you know, and I always want to be politically correct and I want to talk around these topics, you know, so to not make others uncomfortable or to get myself banned. But honestly, when we're talking about war, I don't think there's a place to be polite or to be politically correct when people's lives are in danger. You know, I don't believe for a second that America struck that school by accident. I think we did it on purpose. I don't think that we can claim, oh, AI, we just didn't know. We have such capabilities as a country. We are so advanced at war that I don't believe that that's a mistake. I think it was intentional. And I think this whole dancing around it of like, well, you know, I want to support our government. I don't want to, they did it. And we're capable of doing something like that, and we would do something like that. I think we've crossed many lines when it comes to war, and we have no lines that we won't cross when it comes to war, especially when it comes down to protecting women and children. We're not doing that here. So if we don't have care for our own citizens when it comes to the Epstein files, which conveniently we're not talking about anymore because of this war, if we're not persecuting the people within our country who harm our women and children, who's to say that we won't harm the women and children of other countries? We have, we will, and I'm pretty sure we just did. And I refuse to pretend like we didn't. I'm not going to play along with the media game of we don't know, we're investigating it. I think it was intentional. I think it was to rile up people and then to get the Iranian government worked up too and its surrounding nations. I support our troops. I'm married to a veteran. My husband is a veteran, you know, again, this is not about the American people. And I understand our soldiers are going to do the things that the commander-in-chief tells them to do. They may not have a choice in this matter, but our government shouldn't be making these decisions and putting our troops in danger. I support our troops. I love our troops, but I will never be for a war, cheer on a war. I am a survivor of a war. I was born in Sierra Leone. I emigrated to this country because there was a civil war in my country. I know what it's like to wake up to have tanks in front of my house. I walked 100-something odd miles from my neighboring country in Sierra Leone to Guinea. I've seen war with my own two eyes. And for a lot of Americans and most Americans, war is a theory. We have an ocean that separates us from anybody that will ever want to do us harm. But the people who we're engaging with do not. And so I will support our troops. I'm not going to pretend like our nation isn't doing what it's doing right in front of our eyes, because they are.
Well said, Ratchet. I brought you on the most perfect night. I only put on the screen to show a little bit of what's going on in the chat. If you guys are watching other places, please come follow us on YouTube at The New Party. But the chat is jumping tonight. Y'all want y'all chats on the screen, please send a super chat. But anything else, Mia or Gray, that you want to add? Because we're going to switch to the next topic.
I was going to say, I completely agree with Miss Ratchet Christian on everything she's saying. For me, it's like punching somebody in the face who hasn't done anything to me. It's like convicting somebody for a crime who hasn't really done the crime. I mean, a preemptive attack? What? So we're just killing people to kill them now because they may do something in the future, potentially. I mean, let's look at the evidence. Last June, Donald Traquan Trump stood on 10 tippy toes and told us that those bunker blasters worked, that we sent their nuclear program back decades, that everything was good. We hit all of the targets. We don't have to worry about it. We are safe. So 9 months later, now we're not safe. Now the same bunkers that we destroyed with our bunker busters, all of a sudden they rebuilt, which isn't possible. It's literally not humanly possible to rebuild all of those sites within 6 months. This is not possible. So somebody's lying here. And so many people seem to like not have that kind of discernment. So was Trump lying last year? Was that footage just fake? Or who's lying now? Because last year he said we were fine. Last year he destroyed those bunkers. Last year he destroyed those nuclear underground facilities and everything was fine. But now we're not. Now they're 2 weeks away, even though we destroyed those facilities and they showed us proof on TV. And I'm saying proof loosely. So what's going on here? Who's lying? And then we need to stop acting like us going in this conflict. First was what? A week? Now it's 4 to 6 weeks. Now it's till September. I mean, the timeline keeps moving. It just like the goalpost keeps going. It was 7 days. Then it was 4 weeks. Then it was 6 weeks. Now it's September. Like, I don't get it. Why are we moving the goalpost? If this isn't a war, if it's not a conflict, why do we need to be there longer? And then what are we going to do? There's 90 million people in Iran. 90 million. And I can guarantee you 45 million of them are Ayatollah supporters, right? So we just killed their commander. They put a new one up there. So now if we decide to regime change, we have to physically go in there and set somebody up. We have to quarantine them. We have to build them a fucking castle. And then we have to stay for security guarantees because we can't just put a random person in there with 45 million people who hate them, who are going to take their country back because these people have grown up in this system for almost 50 years. So you guys in the chat are a bunch of idiots. It's not simply dropping bombs. Now we have to go in and we have to provide security for the new regime we set up. And then we're talking about a landmass that on 3 sides is mountains. I've seen you fucking people. You guys can't climb a mountain. I've seen you guys, all right? You guys are flatlanders. You can't climb a mountain. Okay. Over 80% of the American fighting force comes from corn-fed Midwest and down south. Baby, there ain't nothing but meth mountain down there. You guys aren't fighting in the mountains.
Yeah.
So here we are. What are we doing now?
Perfect segue, Mia. Perfect segue. Is the draft coming? I'm going to let Greg kick it off first once I play Mia's clip. So here we go. Let me add this to the screen. Guys, if you're watching, please hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. We appreciate all the support and love and watching tonight.
Do you think eventually there will be a need for boots on the ground?
I would not exclude it for those reasons or other, but we'll have to see how it goes forward.
And will that include Israeli boots on the ground, do you think?
I exclude nothing.
I saw that on TV.
We've been waiting for 47 years, and we came to a point with every necessary means should be taken in order to achieve our goals.
What we're seeing from... Do you think eventually there will be...
Did you freeze?
Sorry, this individual, Gray, they're saying that he is a former Israeli defense minister. Benny Gantz declares that he won't rule out American boots on the ground in Iran. I have other clips that mention it as well. So we'll get to that. As somebody who's actually had boots on the ground in our Iraqi freedom war, what is your thoughts now that we are going to be sending Gen Z, the next generation after us, to go to this war? Are we prepared? You think that all these people hollering will sign up for the draft? What's your thoughts?
Well, I remember, I don't know if they still do this now, when I turned 18, that you had to like fill out a form, like basically saying that you're qualifying to be drafted. I was already going to the military, but I do specifically remember doing that. Do I know if it's going to be a draft? I'm not sure, because during the Iraqi freedom war, basically they was giving out a bunch of